right. We are live. Guys, we did it. One, first payout approved, second payout just requested. Both for 550 or around that. And 400 subscribers all on the same day, right? Dude. What a great day. And also just like a great week. I don't know if you guys saw my post on Twitter, but like this week has been so good to me. I feel so blessed right now because oh my gosh. Yeah, just really great winning streak. Now obviously not all this is real money. But once all the accounts get to the withdrawal stage, then this becomes real money. So man, it's crazy. Exciting stuff though. So in this live stream, I'm gonna be back testing and journaling for Friday, yesterday. Now price action did get kind of bad after the one setup for life, so not sure how much there will be to journal, but we'll still be journaling and looking at what happened. Just doing our best to look at what happened. I might do some higher time frame analysis and stuff as well. Yeah, I need to finish journaling for yesterday, and I don't know how long this is gonna take, but we're just gonna do it until we're done. So let's go ahead and take a look at price action. So as you guys know, the trade that I took, or at least maybe you know, maybe you don't, we had the data high here, right? So let's look at this on NQ1. So we have this data high here. And so it's kind of tricky because typically you want to see one side of the data wick get taken and then the other side to go get hit. That's typically what you want to see. And in this case, we hadn't taken one side. We still had the high and the low. So we had the data high here, and we had the data low. But I did think that it made sense that we were going to go up to the data high, and I'll explain why. Now, obviously, it could have been a loss, but luckily it wasn't, and I'm very grateful that it wasn't. But my thought process was, well, first of all, let's just pull up all of our information just to make sure we have a full picture of what was going on. So you can see the data wick took out all of Asia and London, all of Asia and London's highs, and then also London's lows. That's crazy. That it ran a lot of liquidity just from that wick, right? And then you can see, where do we go? We went right to a key draw on liquidity. We went right to previous week's high. That's crazy, actually. You see how perfectly we go there? So that was the draw on liquidity that I've been wanting to hit all week. I believe you could argue, yeah, this was the weekly, at least this was the weekly objective, right? I talk about this in my weekly recap on Discord, where I say that first previous week's high, that's the first weekly objective. And you can see that we go up and we hit that previous week's high. It's just like perfect. Like, I mean, you can't argue that was a take profit point, right? Obviously it was. Okay? So this previous week's high was the weekly objective, and you can see that we ended up hitting that previous week's high. It's so annoying because like all of these channels are apparently, it's saying that they're unread, but they're not. Someone spammed all the channels and I had to delete all the messages. But I hate having them unread. Okay, back down lower here. So here you can see that I said, well, I forgot to mark it out. But the first draw on liquidity was not this previous week's high. It was this previous week's high right here. I just forgot to mark it out. Whoops. But I did know that this was the first draw on liquidity, right? This previous week's high here. And so you can see that was the weekly objective. And we go to hit that perfectly. Like, perfectly. See how perfect that is? I mean, that's crazy. And so you could have also left a run to go to previous week's high. I was content with the data high, personally. But yeah, because essentially we were within this higher time frame model to go higher, I honestly wanted to see move higher to go take out this previous week's high. But then I'll go over other reasons why I took a long and I wasn't targeting the data low, right? So once again, showing everything I showed in high time frame analysis here. We have monthly fair value gap right here. There it is, monthly fair value gap. And you can see we keep digging into it like over and over and over again. What does that tell you, right? If we keep digging into this monthly fair value gap like this much, there's probably orders getting filled there, right? I mean, especially when you see all these lows get ran and we go on a giant stop run into the monthly fair value gap. Institutions need stop losses to fill their orders, right? So they're using all these stop losses to get their orders filled, right? They do this over and over and over again to just keep filling orders. So that's how I see it. Take it with a grain of salt, though. I'm still trying to get better. But yeah, okay. So like I said, we have S&T with this low in the monthly fair value gap, and we were respecting bullish key levels here, right? Respecting 4 hour fair value gap, 4 hour fair value gap, and like I said, this high right here was the weekly objective, and you can see we hit that perfectly. So, all right, with all that in mind, we'll take a look at specifically what happened. So okay, we're going up, we're going up, we're going up. Once again, this high here, that's essentially the weekly objective. So you could have always made a case that we were gonna go to the data low, but I personally thought we were gonna go to the data high, and we ended up going to this previous week's high too. And one of the main reasons I thought we were going to go to the data high, not the data low, and yes, it is a little bit more risky because we hadn't taken one side of the data wick. You want to see typically one side get swept and then the other side get taken, right? That's typically what you want to see. Even though we didn't get that, I had conviction because look at what happened behind the scenes, right? It's very subtle, but all this stuff matters. So, look at the session statistical mapping here, and you can see that we go right to the session statistical manipulation level right after it opens, like perfectly. So that was like perfect, and I was like, that's interesting, right? So we went perfectly to the session statistical manipulation level. It's Confluence 1. Then we back test. Look at how we hold these levels here. So these levels, these midnight 8:30, these are times. These are key times that act as support and resistance. They're where orders get filled. And you can see we backtest both of them, and then we continue higher, right? So that was a nice confluence for my trade where we backtest midnight here, and we held it as support, and we backtest 8:30, and we hold it as support. So anyway, and then as well, same thing with this new day opening gap, right? We held this new day opening gap once and then twice, and as well we held the midpoint between these two opening gaps. This is called the event horizon. We held that as well, and so yeah, we deliver up all the way to the data high. So the trade that I took was, yeah, the 3-minute inversion here. And we were delivering from this gap here. And I entered right here, stop loss essentially like around right there. And then you can see this was 2-1, so very cool. I thought this was a great trade. I think I rated it A. Reason probably wouldn't be A plus is because we didn't sweep the data low. I mean, that's the main reason it's not A plus. We just didn't sweep the data low, but I still thought we were gonna go to the data high because we were respecting all those bullish confluences, if that makes sense. So. Yeah, let's screenshot that and put it in the journal, or in the, I don't even know what you call it, my records, right? So this was at 8:57. We'll record that right now. 8:57. One setup for life. What else about it? One setup for life, and then 3-minute. And then I'm gonna add another screenshot for. Actually, I'm just gonna use the screenshots from my Twitter because they're a little cleaner. Right. So this was 8:57. One setup for life. 3-minute. Okay. And then here are all the additional confluences. Eight 57. One setup for life. 3-minute. Okay. Nice. Okay, now this is the fun part. We're just gonna chill out and like review what happened, and then eventually I'll do some high time from analysis. But right now I'm just gonna review the market, see if there were any other trades, and just observe what happened. As far as this trade goes, I think this was great. I think this was A. Once again, not A plus because we didn't sweep the data low, but I did like it. We were delivering from all those confluences, and good RR on this. And you can see we went right to the previous week's high here. So theoretically, you could have got 3.5 to 1 if you held it there, but why not just take off at the data high, you know? So Um, you'll note as well, another nice confluence about this trade was that if I measure out standard deviations of this move down here, I think it was this move down, -1 was right above the data high, right? So I was like, okay, that's a nice confluence. Now, obviously take it with a grain of salt, but like it was decent. It was decent confluence. And then same thing here. If I measure this out, yeah, there you go. 4.5 right above the data high. So I liked that as a confluence as well. So both of those were nice confluences. Just subtle things like that you can check to see if your trade makes sense, and you can see when it lines up perfectly like that. It's like, okay, it's a nice confluence, you know. So okay, let's just review everything else in general. This is the fun part. We're just gonna chill out, review the market. But yeah, so we end up pushing up to previous week's high, right? So let's get rid of all this. We push up to previous week's high. You can see we go react there perfectly. That was a really significant target the market wanted to go to, and then we chop around, and you could argue that this is a change of state delivery, but you want an obvious one, right? It's not obvious, but you know what is obvious? This candle closed below this series of down close candles here. So like this, I would not consider this like a change, like a really obvious change state delivery, but this definitely is, right? So when I say change state delivery, it can also mean a close below a breaker. So because this is a breaker right here, the series of down close candles. So and we also sweep out all of the liquidity in these candle bodies here. So we sweep, close below. So theoretically, you could have possibly entered on this close below this breaker. Now I'm not saying I would do this. Maybe if you wanted to, you could try this. I'm not saying this is like A+ or anything, but I am noting it, right? We sweep out all the candle bodies, and then we get a really good change state delivery or a close below this breaker after sweeping previous week's high, and then you could target the data low, and that would have been a 5-to-1. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I will take note of this. So yeah, close below breaker after sweeping previous week's high. And also, I was going to say come back and fill this new week opening gap, but I don't know. I think it's more obvious that we wanted to come to the data low. So let's see if there were any other confluences with this trade. But yeah, you can see like it's really not black and white with change state delivery. Like this, you could argue it's change state delivery, but you want it to be an obvious, violent, aggressive close below a breaker or a change state delivery, right? This isn't light bulb, but this is. So I would definitely consider taking this, but I'd not take this just because it's just not light bulb. But this makes a lot more sense to me. And so anyway, this is crazy though, because look at this. What is this? The daily stat map? What is this? We're looking at the 4-hour stat map. And check this out, right? 4-hour stat map manipulation level was right here. We went right to the 4-hour statistical manipulation level perfectly, and then we get a violent close below this breaker. Very obvious on the 2-minute, right? This 2-minute close below this breaker is very, very obvious, and then we distribute all the way down to the data low. So, I would definitely say this was, I think this is a pretty good trade, honestly. But once again, I don't know if I would have taken it because I'm still getting more comfortable with, I don't know. This would be like a really high R trade for me. I don't know if I'd take it, but I don't know. I'm just observing and taking notes and trying to get better, so. Not session, 4-hour. 4-hour manipulation. And we get a very good close below this breaker. Probably just put stop at there, and then boom, right to the data low. So 954 close below breaker. Once again, this is not light bulb, but this is, right? Okay. So what is this? 954 close below breaker. 954. Yeah, I like this. 954. This was 954, right? Yeah, 954. Creation of this breaker, and then boom, down to the data low. On the 2-minute. We were right at the session 4-hour manipulation level, so very cool. Once again, why would you not take this? Because this is stupid. This is not light bulb. That's light bulb, right? So I think that's what makes sense to me. Let me know your thoughts. I guess technically you might want to be careful and wait for this 3-minute to close, but when this 3-minute closes, maybe you enter here. So we could do another one where it's this 3-minute. Let's do that. 954. Because technically the 3-minute hadn't closed. Okay, 954 BRK close 3-minute. I'm not gonna have it be a separate. I'm not gonna have it say pick two because it's like two separate things, possibly. Okay, let's look at some other things that you could maybe take, right? So right after we come hit this data low, you can see the market gets into this really disgusting consolidation. And when you see this, just step away from the charts. Like, don't mess with this. It's just, it's not worth it. Simply put, it is not worth it. Oh, you know what's cool is this move down happened at 10 a.m. So that's a nice yeah, that's a nice confluence for your trade, right? This happens at 10 a.m. Yeah, the market gets into this really aggressive consolidation. When this happens, when you see this happen, just get off the charts. Don't trade. I think once we hit a major draw on liquidity and the market just goes like this, like, I would just get off. Like, but once again, it's hard. It's hard in the moment to acknowledge that, right? Because theoretically, you might be like, oh, well, this inverse, but like, what liquidity are you targeting, right? The market moves to go run liquidity, and you have to understand that. Like in this case, we had all these lows here. The market wanted to go run. So this inversion is like, okay, who cares, right? No, there's no liquidity here. So yeah, I'm gonna go use the bathroom and then we'll review more about the day. But I like those two trades. Yeah. All right, I'll be back. I guess now let's just chill out and review everything else that happened. So, something that I just saw from Justice while I was in the bathroom, my friend Justice, he pointed this out where we do have a breaker here, right? We have a breaker and it's a nice breaker because what happened? We swept out all these lows, right? This breaker occurred where we swept out all of these lows. So we sweep out that low, sweep out London's lows. Whoops. And then what happens, right? Then we get a close above, validating this as a breaker. So now when we come back to it, it's like, well, sweet. It's a nice breaker, and also, on the lower time frame, I think there might have been a fair value gap overlap with it. Yeah, like breaker, fair value gap, and then also, I know that's not the actual fair value gap, but like I'm just gonna mark it out like that, just for the sake of marking it out like that. Breaker, so we have that breaker, and we have a volume imbalance here, right? So this what's it called? This breaker is so good because it is the up close candles before all this liquidity got swept, right? This is very, very aggressive and violent move down that sweeps out all these lows. So this breaker is significant right here. And then breaker, there we go. There's a better fair value gap. Breaker block and fair value gap. That's fire. And then like, I think, yeah, Justice took this where he said, okay, I'm gonna enter at the breaker. Stop below the swing low, maybe a little bit lower. And then, yeah, wow. Right, data high. That'd be a lot better RR than I got. I honestly just be safe. I'd probably just do something like that, just because conservative. Why not, right? But yeah, this was a good trade from Justice. So we're gonna mark this out. It becomes really obvious on the 32nd, right? I think, how should I mark this out? On the 2 minute? Yeah, 2 minute looks best. Yeah, nice breaker, nice fair value gap, and then right to the data high. And I'll journal the trade that I took in the actual journal. Oh man, I need to redo that picture. What time was this at? 8:50. So 8:50 BRK plus short value gap. This was on the 2 minute, and yeah, that's fire. I'm not saying I would take this one because I'm still getting better with breaker and for value gaps, but it's a good trade to remember the signature and price, right? Where you have a series of up close candles, a violent move taking out a ton of liquidity. It's like the breaker is like I don't know. It's just this is a knockout punch, and so the breaker is holding him there. So you like, I don't know. It's a knockout punch. It's a reactionary point, right? The series of up close candles before this down move that takes out all these lows. Yeah. Okay. Now let's take a look at. I don't know what else. What else we look at? Like, let's see if there were any fake out trades within this nonsense here that you might have taken. So yeah, this inversed, but like once again, external gap here. Liquid doesn't make sense because of liquidity. We just had a giant expansion. I wouldn't take anything in here. Just doesn't make sense. Now, maybe you could take. No, no, there's nothing. So yeah, if I'm being honest, just when you see this choppy price action, just come back the next day. This isn't gonna be good for trading conditions because this is consolidation. You're not gonna get any good trades really. It's just gonna be harder, and yeah. But the morning was great. I thought there were lots of opportunities in the morning, and right from the data high to the data low, lots of opportunities in the morning. Let's just take a look at other things about the day, right? Because I'm just curious. Like higher time frame key levels, right? How did we respond to them? Yeah, see, look at this. It's so fascinating. Like, everything is connected in the market, right? Because not only did we sweep out London, but we pushed into a 4-hour order block here, right? Four-hour OB. And then what do we have happen? Within this, we get, well, we don't get a 15-minute change day delivery until all the way up here, but anyway, it's cool to know that we did push into this 4-hour order block here, right? So you can see that on my other screen right here. This 4-hour down close candles opening price, that's the order block. Switch over to the other screen, and then boom, we push into that. Now, yeah, push into that 4-hour order block. What else? Let's look at the other screen real quick. Anything else in here to look at? Oh my gosh. Wait. Oh man, that's close. I think it misses it by just a bit, but the bottom of the 2-hour order block right here. Can it let me draw it? Yeah, look. So this bottom of this 2-hour order block here is right here. That's actually insane. See this, there's always more to review on the market on any given day, and you just have to keep looking, right? It's crazy. Back to my other screen. Yeah, I mean, in general, just it's a 4-hour, 2-hour, 1 hour, but it's all the same. Like, it's just an order block that we push into, and then we're delivering higher. You frame this as a buy model to go run up to the data high. I mean, yeah. And yeah, what else do we look at? I think the 4-hour one's the most obvious. That's the one I would mark out here. And then we also went to that session manipulation level, right? Once again, you sometimes have to go to the higher time frame. I don't know why, but you do sometimes. So, session. There's our session statistical manipulation level. And then we also went to the 4-hour one as well. So it's crazy. So as well, I mean, just thinking about this in terms of AMD, right? Accumulation, manipulation, distribution, and then maybe even retracement here, right? Okay, we're gonna record the trade in the journal. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. I might just come back. What's it called? Yeah, I might just come back and do high time frame analysis like either tomorrow or later tonight. Just because I think I've been reviewing the market for a while now, and I'm kind of getting tired again. But I do think it's important to make sure I do everything. So we'll record this in the journal. Trade 102. Okay. Let's see what trade this was. Man, back when I used to trade singular accounts, bro, there's no point in trading singular accounts. Like, I wish I could have learned that sooner, but it's fine. Trade 103. Okay. Okay, so trade 103. Dodgy one setup for life. G W R 2 to 1. Alright, I'm just gonna have a simple explanation for this. Hey, Shotgun, how's it going? I'm taking a look at the trade I took. Now, it looks really complicated, but it's really not, and I can explain it pretty simply. So, it was simply a one setup for life, but right now I'm going through I'll explain what one setup for life is, but I'm going through all the additional confluences right now, because I think it's cool to have them, but um, yeah, the trade was this. Just a 3 minute IFG where you have an old bearish fair value gap. That is the gap between this wick and this wick right here. When that gets closed above, right up to the data high, right? And this is a 2 to 1. So this old fair value gap, wick to wick, gets closed above, right to the data high. And so, pretty simple, but I liked it a lot because there were a lot of other confluences. We swept out a ton of lows, right? We swept out, this was the low of London session. We swept out these lows. We swept out these lows. We swept out these lows. Then we violently, aggressively close back higher, right? Validating this up close candle as a breaker block, right? So that's what this is. These up close candles are now a breaker. Once this candle body closes above them, we come back down and retest this breaker here, right? So this is like a knockout punch area right here. These up close candles, it's like a launch pad is what it is, right? These up close candles are a launch pad. We push back down into the launch pad here, and you can see that this is aligned with so many confluences, right? We have time levels, so these are key times that act as support and resistance. So you have 8:30 we push into here, and then we also have midnight. So we hold 8:30, we hold midnight. All this tells me is that these key levels are being bought up, right? So I'm gonna get rid of that. I'm just gonna have this be, and then I'm gonna switch this to here. I'm just trying to keep this not confusing here. But I'm doing good. How are you? Why does that keep buzzing? What the? So annoying. Okay, I'm gonna end stream. Thanks, Shakam Khan for showing up, and I will see you guys.